Welcome to the very first video on a brand new channel. I am Dr. Keel McFarland, and welcome to the Shadowright Project. So this project started in 2020 when I was having a rough time because 2020, as you know, it was kind of rough for just a few people. And I tried LARPing, or live action role playing, for the very first time. If you're not familiar with this, imagine D&D but acting it out, like improv theater mixed with some sport fighting, mixed with D&D, and it was a blast. It was the nerdiest thing I've ever done, and I absolutely loved it. As I was getting to know, like, what is LARPing in the community, I kept hearing from a lot of different people, oh, LARPing is therapy. LARPing is my therapy. Now, as a therapist, I was like, not sure how I feel about that, because it isn't. It's not therapy. It just isn't. But it's therapeutic, or it can be. It has the potential to be therapeutic. And what I mean by that is that by going through the process of engaging in collaborative storytelling, where you're playing a character, that can help us see the world and understand ourselves and others in new ways. And that there's something that can be healing about that, just from engaging stories. And what sets LARPing apart from, like, let's say Dungeons and Dragons, is that with live action role playing, you are physically embodying it. And so you can have a transformative experience reading a story or watching a movie, but it hits different. It's a very deep thing that could potentially happen when you're physically acting out what your character is doing. So all of this kind of left me wondering, well, okay, so just normal LARP can be therapeutic. That's cool. But what if we made an actual therapy LARP and worked with storytellers and clinicians to create a game that players can come and engage in and have a healing experience, and specifically targeted with working with actual therapists to take a therapeutic thing and move it into actual therapy? That's a big question, because from a therapist's perspective, that gets really complicated really quick. And there's a lot of concerns about how to do that safely for the participants, emotionally safely. And so it's a big project. So since 2020, really starting in earnest in like 2022, so the last 3 years or so, I've been asking that question. Where we are now is that I have developed a world that is specifically designed to help storytellers and clinicians and even individuals ask questions about themselves and to grapple with, how can I grow in my understanding of the world, of others, and of myself? And to do this, I have based my fantasy world on the theories of Carl Jung. Now, Jung is super popular, which is really helpful because people are coming in with some sort of understanding of who Carl Jung is a little bit. Like, there's the Myers-Briggs, there's archetypes, there's the shadow. There's some controversies in there, for sure. But it was a good starting place, a good inspiration point, because Jung's theories were built around stories. And so doing story therapy or narrative therapy, a different version of narrative therapy, and Jungian theory, they work really, really well. Shadowright it's not confined to it, and it's not a pure version of Jungian theory, but it's definitely inspired by it. So with that as our foundation, we have two main things that we're working on right now. The first is just stories, to introduce people to the world and to give an opportunity for individuals to kind of wrestle with what some of these theories are, and do that just by reading a story. I'm happy to say that in this video, down in the description, I have left a link to the first of a 12-part series looking at my version of Jungian archetypes. I'm calling them dragons because why not? So our first dragon that we're going to engage or encounter is the dragon who is the archetype of the rebel or the outlaw. And so the entire story is wondering, what does it mean for someone to be a rebel or to be an outlaw or to be rebellious? And there's a link to a free short story below, and I'd love to hear what you think. And check it out. Give me some feedback. Tell me what you like. Tell me what sucked. Like, let me know. Let me know what you think. I will be releasing a follow-up video to that unpacks what was I thinking in writing that, and what did Jung say about the rebel, and what have others said about those sorts of narratives that we find in our world. So that's an example of the stories that we're working on. The second thing, and this is the more complicated thing, is games. So there is the big, huge question of a therapy LARP, and that is complicated, but we're going for it, and I'm pulling on some resources for some other academics who are doing very exciting work in transformative role-playing games. And we're going, but that's a slow, long journey. So in the meantime, what I'm hoping to be able to release much sooner is a version of a Shadowright game that can be played by just a group of people. Now, this would be in the therapeutic category, not in the therapy category. Again, there's different. Don't need a therapist there. But it's still in this world where we have things that, like, okay, the shadow is, what is the shadow? It's the parts of ourself that we try to not let others see, and having that be a part of the game and the world that we can play with, just by wondering about, well, what is my character's shadow? That can help us out of character be able to maybe wonder about, okay, well then what's my shadow? So that's the game that we're working on developing right now. If this seems like something you're interested in, please give me a follow. Give me a follow, or just leave me a comment. Tell me what you think. Do you think this is a good idea? What are some of the dangers that you see? Because those are real. And also, just what would you like to see in a fantasy world that is kind of inspired by Jung? What would you be sad if wasn't there? So I'm very curious to hear what people think, and I hope you'll be able to join us. But welcome, and thank you. If you got here this far, like, oh my gosh, like, you're amazing, and major props to you. You're amazing. So I hope to see you all soon in the next video. Until then.